optical layer is based on wavelength dependent concepts. So when it lies directly above the physical layer. So hence here entire physical interconnected network provides a wavelength signal service among the node. The figure 15.18, that is the upcoming figure. So this is the figure. So this particular diagram indicates that how the wavelength dependent interconnection is going to happen. Okay. So now we can see that there is a node. There are 3 nodes in this particular diagram. Okay. So what are the 3 nodes? Node 1, node 2, node 3. So in this particular node 1, node 2, node 3, you can see that from the node 1, okay, lambda 1, lambda 2 are the 2 wavelengths which are coming. Okay. So now here we can see that in this particular lambda 1 and lambda 2 paths are there, no? So the wavelength is been exchanged. Okay. So what is that particular exchange? What they have done? You can see the dotted lines and the straight line. So the dotted lines, the lambda 1 is coming in the first path, and the thick line is going in the second path after the node 2. So whereas dotted lines are coming in the second path of the node 1, but when it is going out, it is the lambda 1. So it is taking the dotted path. So this particular wavelength dependent interconnection, you can able to make it the cross connections, we can say. Okay. So you can see that the node in the second diagram. So you can see that the dotted lines indicates the available wavelength. So the thick line indicates the wavelength which is in use. Okay. So that is what the indication here. So that means what we can interchange the availability and the one which is in the use. So that is what the provision what we have. Okay, the wavelength dependent interconnection. So in the figure 8 you can see the fixed wavelength nodes, and in the second figure we can see that the wavelength convertible nodes. So now after this one, you can see that the methodology is to reduce this particular wavelength continuity. And the constraint is to switch the wavelength channel at node 2 by converting the incoming wavelength lambda 2 to lambda 1. Okay. So this to enable a link between the node 2 and 3, which has to be established. So this particular process has been shown in the upcoming figure. What is that particular figure? We'll see. So upcoming figures like the figure number 15.19 and 15, you can see that what is the modification we have taken. Okay, you can see that in the wavelength routing networks. Okay, so here in the figure number A, you can see that demultiplexers are there. So there may be n number of demultiplexers which are available. So among the n number of demultiplexers which are available, okay, so we can have one particular another extra signal called as what locally added optical signal. Okay. So here in that particular there is a optical switch. Okay, here what is the functionality of optical switch we need to understand. So what is the functionality of optical switch? Here optical switch will be used. Okay, so optical switch will be used for one particular purpose. What is that particular purpose? So we can convert the wavelength. So we can shuffle the different wavelengths and we can convert the wavelength. That is why the optical switch will be playing a major role. So here you can see that from the demultiplexer many number of signals are coming. Okay. So once they are coming, so you can see that the wavelength converter. So you can see that the wavelength converters are available. So in the wavelength converters, so lambda 1, lambda 2, okay, all those things are available. So in that particular wavelength, lambda 1 and lambda 2 and all, it is there, no? So there we can see that WC stands for wavelength converter. So once the signals are fed to the wavelength converters, the signals will be converted according to the required wavelength, and then it is going to the multiplexers, that is mux. So that is how it is going to work. Okay. So the wavelength routing. So here wavelength, different types of signals having the different wavelengths. So there are different wavelengths will be taken care in that particular fashion. Okay. So there you can able to see that. Okay. So different things are available. You can able to see that on all those things. So you can able to take that particular diagram, all of you. So now after this we can see the next diagram. So here there is a somewhat instead of using single wavelength converters for every line, so we can use this particular configuration. You can extend this particular configuration to the next level. So what is that particular next level configuration is saying? It is saying that okay, so lambda 1, lambda 2, all those things are available, no? So you can understand that there is a wavelength converter block is available. Okay, so that has been explained here. So in this particular thing, wavelength converter bank. So you can see that the so-called sparse wavelength convertible network architectures employing a number of wavelength converters as a wavelength converter bank. Okay, so WCB is functioning on a shared basis. Per link and per node are shown in the figure. Okay, so here per link and you can see that so instead of using wireless or what is called the wavelength converter for each signal, so we can use that wavelength converter bank. So based on the sharing basis, that means what? So whichever the needs to be, whichever signals need to be wavelength convert. Okay, say suppose see out of 100 signals, there may be around 10 signals may require wavelength conversion. So another 90 signals may not require. So once if they are not requiring the wavelength conversions, then what is the necessary of converting the signals? That is not necessary. So then infrastructure will be wasted. So instead of the doing that one, so we can have some wavelength converter bank. So in the bank, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 wavelength converters will be available. So whatever the signals which are supposed to convert the wavelength, so those signals can be fed in the wavelength converter bank. So after that particular signal, what exactly happen is the required signals will be converted with respect to their wavelength, and then it will be fed to the multiplexer. So out of the multiplexer bank, after the multiplexer, the signal will be multiplexed, and that all signals will be going in the same channel. So here you can see, understand one thing. So the input signal and output signal, the input to the demultiplexer, output of the multiplexer, only one channel is there. Okay. So all the signals are multiplexed in the only one channel. But inside this, when you want to do any modifications and all, that is there is a provision. So locally added optical signal, that means what? Addition, add or drop is also available. Okay, switching the signals among the different places is also available. Conversion with respect to their wavelength is also available. Okay, so that means what? Once the devices are getting sophisticated, so it is an obvious thing that okay, it's an obvious thing that all devices once they get sophistication in with respect to the architectures, the devices will get upgraded. Once they get upgraded, so we will be having the more features in it. Okay, so instead of single wavelength converter for each and every line, we can have the wavelength converter back. That is also one of the possibility. So that particular possibility has been explained in the figure number B. So we can have a look at this particular diagram. So just go through the diagram, all of you. So after this, we can see the next diagram. That is, there we can see that the C diagram. This is a still extension of the. So in this particular extension, you can able to see that, okay, same thing. So here also demultiplexer will be the initial part and multiplexer at the final part. So here optical switch is also available, but here what exactly we do is there is a wavelength converter bank is also available. Okay, so after that, okay, so once we do the wavelength conversion, suppose if you want to do any optical switching after the wavelength conversion, okay, that is also available. So that means what, there is another optical switch is been included here. Okay, so now you can see that by the contrast of two optical switches are required to construct the shared per node wavelength convertible network architecture. So that is indicated in the figure number 15.19, that is which is being shown here. So here optical switch 2 switches the converted wavelength channel to their designated nodes. That is fine. We are in this particular designated node means what? In this case, the wavelength channel lambda 2 is converted to the wavelength channel lambda 3 via a shared WCB, that is a wavelength converter bank, and is then switched through optical switch 2 to provide the connection to the multiple. Okay, so multiple, so there is a multiplexer. Okay, so it is a multiplexer. You can see that lambda 2 is been converted to lambda 3. So once the lambda 3 has been converted, so then the optical switch will take that particular lambda 3 and will feed it to the multiplexer 1. Okay, there are two multiplexer, above multiplexer and below multiplexer. So you can call it as multiplexer 1 or multiplexer 2. So it will go to the lambda 3 like that. Okay. So here a large number of wavelength channels on the network links, however, increase the complexity of switching nodes in the ordinary OXC, that is optical cross connectors. So which switch traffic only at the wavelength level. So moreover, the complexity worsens when multi-granular, that is multi-granular optical cross connects are used when the traffic is required to be accessed at multiple levels. So in these cases, the multi-granular optical cross connect output traffic does not simply either terminate at or transparently pass through a node, but may also be required to transport from one layer to another via multiplexer or demultiplexer. So now we can see that there is a diagram. There is in the wavelength routing networks, the waveband switching network architecture. So waveband switching network architecture employing the multi-granular optical cross connect. Okay. So now we can see that there are something like three stages we can able to consider this particular diagram. So in the three stages, you can see that the wavelength add and wavelength drop at the top is at the top we can able to see that one. So wavelength addition and wavelength dropping is there is a provision. So once that particular provision is there, okay. So wavelength band, wave band to wavelength demultiplexers. So wavelength cross connect, okay. So here WXC, BXC and FXC. Okay, so those are the three different stages you can able to see that. So here in the wavelength switching layer, so wavelength to waveband multiplexer, it is going to happen. So in the above stage, it is in the top stage, you can see that the wavelength to waveband multiplexer, the conversion, the signaling is been happen. So here in the second layer, fiber to waveband demultiplexer, it is going to happen. Whereas in the last layer, it is fiber switching layer, we say. So input fiber and output fibers, fiber switching layer, that is called fiber cross connect. Okay, that is FXC. So here waveband demultiplexer. So here that is called what BXC. Okay. So and then wavelength switching layer, that is what you call for that WXC. Okay. So that means what here, see in the telecom industry, okay, so in the BSNL office and all, so government offices and all, you can able to go and see that one, okay. So you can see that there may be many number of switches are available, okay. So that particular many number of switches will be automatically operating nowadays, okay. So initially what they were doing is they will be, if you want to do a trunk call, okay, you need to call to the nearest what it could be office, and from there it is tell that I need to call to this number which is in this particular location. So they need to do the connection from your line to that particular line connection they used to do manually. So then they will say that okay sir, the call is being connected, you can talk like that, they will be telling. But nowadays now due to the automatic switching it is available. So initially the manual switching was there, okay. So you can go to this particular diagram. So here it is wave band switching network architecture employing multi-granular optical cross connect. The same thing is explained here. So next is what routing and wavelength assignment. Okay, routing and wavelength assignment is the next topic. So in this particular routing and wavelength assignment, you can able to see that in dense WDM networks, a light path is established by reserving a particular wavelength on a physical links between the source and destination edge nodes. So in that case, after this one, I can understand the thing that it is a two-stage search and select process related to both routing and wavelength assignment. Okay. So here in the what do you mean by wavelength assignment? That is in the wavelength assignment, you can understand the thing that searching or maybe the selecting or allocating an available wavelength for the connection. So sometimes whatever the wavelength is free. So that particular based on the availability, we need to do the connection. That particular process of allotting the things is called as what? That particular process is called as wavelength assignment. Okay, so what do you mean by routing? Routing means what? Selecting the path. Okay, the two stages, one is what? Routing, the second stage is what? Wavelength assignment. So both needs to be done. So the overall process is often, okay, the overall process is often referred as routing and wavelength assignment problem. So routing and wavelength assignment problem. So that means what? RWA, we say routing and wavelength assignment problem. So there may be some problems which may encounter. So that particular thing is called as a routing and wavelength problem. So although there are various possible ways to determine the selection of path and allocation of wavelength, they fall into the two basics category of either sequential or combinational selections. So each of these categories fundamentally addresses the core issue of the wavelength continuity constraint. See, wavelength continuity means what signal has to pass. The continuously it has to be available. That is what the continuing condition here. So next is what implementation of RWA can be, static or dynamic. Okay. So here static or dynamic means what? In the static means what? In the initially, before sending the signal only we define and we make that, we consider that this is the root. Okay, that is the initial, that is static. Dynamic means what? When the process is started. So what we do, that is called as what? Dynamic. So now after that, static RW technique are employed to provide the set of semi-permanent connection, so which remain active for a relatively longer time. Since they are active for relatively longer time, that is called semi-permanent. Say once the connection is over, so we are going to remove that. Okay, because we need to use the resources for our other purpose. So that is the one of the condition. We take the condition, the next condition. Okay, so in advance, and the variation in the traffic pattern is not frequent, so therefore it is useful uh, therefore it is useful to optimize the way in which network resources will be assigned. RWA problem is often referred as the topology design problem. Okay, so this particular routing and wavelength assignment problem is referred as a virtual topology design. Okay. So after this, in this case, you can see and you can understand. See, these are all the routing algorithms. So in this case, the traffic patterns are not known, and then therefore the connection requests are initiated from the random fashion. So depending on the network state at the time of request, so the resources may or may not be sufficient to establish a light path between the corresponding sources and destination edge node pair. So here the network state provides information about the physical path. So on the wavelength assignment for all active light paths, the state evolves randomly in this particular new light paths, and existing light paths are released. So now I can say that the summary. So at each time a request is made. Okay. So at each time the request is made, and an algorithm must be executed in real time to determine whether it is feasible to accommodate the request, and if so, then we can perform the RWA. So RWA means what? Routing wavelength assignment. Okay. So that is called what? Dynamic. So static means what? Initially only we'll do. So dynamic means what? We'll do like this. So next is what you can see that so here when we do this particular thing, no, so algorithm are used to decide the shortest path available in the network. So why we go for the shortest path? Because once we go for the shortest path, so we can understand one thing, that okay, the shortest paths will always be used. Okay, because we don't want to travel, we don't want our data to travel more in the network. So as early as, okay, so it has to reach the destination. So see, it is a human tendency. Okay, so all of you are very familiar, and all of you are very well known that, so whatever the shortest path is there, that only will do it, that only we will take it. Okay, because we don't want to travel. Why we don't want to travel? Because it takes more time. That's the first thing. So once it is more taking time, more energy is required. Okay, once it is requiring more energy, obviously it is more expensive. So to avoid all those things, what we do, we go for the shortest path selection. So that is the one of the important thing we need to understand. So after that, I can see that the 5-node network with a fixed connection, where node 1 is requested to establish a link with node 5 and illustrated in the next figure. So you can see that this is the diagram, wavelength routing and selection of a path. One example we have taken. So according to this particular example, okay, so we can understand the many things. So here there are something like 5 nodes are there. Node number 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 is there. So in all these particular 5 nodes, okay, so what we can understand that the thing is, okay, so here where the exactly the normal lines are there, okay, so that particular normal thick lines are nothing but single hop via node 2. Single hop means what? From one node to another node. So here the dotted lines are there. The variations in the dotted lines are also available. So you can see that small dots means what? 3 hops via node 4, 2 and 3. Some little bit, okay, some little bit next level, that is 2 hops via node 2 and 3. Next another type of line, that is 2 hops via node 4 and 2. So here fixed connections are there. See, the thick lines indicates a fixed connection. So apart from the fixed connection, okay, very thick lines are nothing but fixed connection. So apart from the fixed connection, okay, so if you want to route the data via the virtual paths, okay, so there are 4 paths, 4 different virtual paths we have taken. So according to the particular 4 virtual paths, what exactly it is defining, so that is been written in the right hand side. You can able to see that. Okay, so via node 2 using single hop. So node via node 2, okay, so you can able to route the data. So okay, so that is what exactly the thing here. Okay, so here are 2 hops. See, that means what? Here, what is the thing is what? We need to establish always what is the particular thing is we need to establish a connection from node 1 to node 5. That means what? I need to go from node 1 to node 5. That means what? I can go for node 2 and I can go for node 5. That is the very shortest path, correct? So now any other thing if you take, so something like single hop via node 2, that means what? Between the 2 nodes only one different node we are encountering, that is called what? Single hop. So next thing is what? 2 hops via node 4 and 2. So now 2 hops via node 4 and 2 means, so now I will go for, okay, 4 and I will go for 2 and then I will come for 5. That is also one of the possibility. Okay, so another thing is what? I can go for 2 and I can go for 3 and I can come for 5. That is also one of the possibility. So another way, another path you can see that I can go for 1 to 4, 4 to 2, 2 to 3 and 3 to 5. That means for 3 hops. That means what? 4, 2 and 3 are the 3 hops we can able to see. So that is what exactly called as what? Wavelength routing. See, why this particular wavelength? See, there is a provision of going for only single hop, that is via node 2. So we will be going for 4 and 2. Okay, so why we go for this particular 4 and 2, 2 and 3 and all? Why? Because, okay, so because of one particular reason, sometimes some other nodes will not be available. So let's suppose something like 3 is not available. So when 3 is not available, what is the next position? We can go for 1 to 2, 2 to 5 is fine. So suppose that 2 is busy, so 1 will go from 4. 4 after the once it free, it come for 2. So like that we can able to make it. Okay, that is called about routing and wavelength assignment. So that is explained here. And I can see that the wavelength assignment in a ring network. So light path arrangement in the 4 network nodes. And okay, so you can see that in the ring network, how it going to happen. Okay. In that particular wavelength assignment, you can see that light path arrangement in the 4 network is A, B, C, D from A to B. So B to C, C to D and D to A. So there is a connection from A to C. Okay, there is a connection from A to C. Okay, so there is a connection from okay, so B to D. There is a connection from D to C, and there is a connection from A to D. Okay, that is also available. So there you can see that data transmission and reception, and you can see that okay, transmission to A it is available lambda 1. Okay, so you can see that in the top. Okay, from the last also it is available. So lambda 2, so it is 4 and 5, it is also available. Lambda 3, so that particular routing, how if the connections are there from A to B, okay, so how the particular thing based on the connections, we take that particular lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3 routings and all. So this particular diagram indicates the wavelength assignment that is in the ring network topology. So next, when you are talking about this one optical, okay, so optical switching networks will go. So when you are going for optical switching networks, okay, so what is the thing you need to understand? So what is the meaning of optical switching networks? So optical switching networks, here the circuit switching and the packet switching will come into picture. So we need to have that particular idea of circuit switching and the packet switching. So in that particular circuit switching and packet switching, what exactly is happening, so that I can able to see. So an optical switch represents a single most dynamic element in an optical network, which traditionally can switch data between different parts of the network. So broadly, as with the electronic switching, optical switching can be classified into two categories, so which are circuit and packet switching. So here when you're talking about circuit switching and all, so what is the meaning of all these two things? We'll see. Here an optical switch performs the various digital logic operations, allowing a switch to perform from one state to another state. That is the these are the fundamental things which are already very much familiar. So here what exactly thing is, a router on the other hand routes the data packets instead of providing circuit switch connectivity. So here in this particular case of circuit switching, so in this case the data is split into packets. Okay, so which are routed separately through the network and then reassembled in the receiving terminal to reconstitute the original message. So this particular process provides a more efficient use of available bandwidth. So both circuit and packet switching techniques are used in high capacity network. See, as an overall idea, so both of these particular circuit switching as well as packet switching will be used, okay, will be used in high density or high capacity network. That is a well known fact. So once we understand that both are used in circuit switching network, the connection must be set up between the transmitter and receiver. So before the initialization, so that is the one of the important thing. Before the initiation of the this one, okay, before the initialization of before initiation of the particular thing, okay, so we can we need to do this particular process of handshaking, that is called as what so that is what exactly called as what circuit switching. Okay, so in the network resources remain dedicated to the circuit connection during the entire transfer, and the complete message follows the same path. The circuit is set to be static. So here when the circuit is set to be static, because once the connection is already made, so we always say that circuit is static. Okay, that is what exactly the meaning. So this is the block diagram of optical circuit switched network. You can please go through this diagram, and you can make a note of this particular diagram, all of you. So in this particular optical circuit switch network, there are 6 nodes. So how the connection has been made in this particular optical circuit switch network. So please go through it. So once this particular diagram you have taken, it's very important thing. Okay, so logical connection. See, whatever the connection in the dotted lines or in the what thick lines are there, that is called what logical connection or the path we can say from A to F how it has been traveling. So here between this to reach that particular F, there are multiple connections may exist. So those are called as what virtual connections I can say. So if you take one particular node, okay, one particular, for example, B node, if you enlarge and if you see that, so there is a connection like from one, what is the 4 ports are there, okay, 2 plus 2 is there. So here one is the taking as input and another 4 is the taking as output, that is dotted lines. So 2 is taking the input and 3 is giving the as output, that is in the vertical for fixed path. So that means there is a provision of fixed path also, there is a provision of virtual path also. Okay, that is what exactly the meaning you can see. So there is a connection like that. So here you can see that in the B, why it is taking 2 is taking and 3 is giving the output, because the signal is coming from the bottom, the connection you can take it. But when you are talking about the D, so the same or the same line wise you can see that okay. So it is being made a provision. One is taking as input and one of 3 is giving as output. That is what exactly can able to observe. So, but this particular stage,